Hi guys, welcome back to Tea with Publicity, another fabulous Tuesday. I have some weird stories for you guys that I just thought I would share today. And then we will get into an interview with Batsheva from My Unorthodox Life on Netflix. She's so cute. We were social media friends and we met today in real life. So my interview with her will follow. And then I did do the Ask Alyssa segment with her. And I thought she was just like the perfect person to get her advice because she obviously has such a different perspective than me. Though it wasn't that different than mine, which I was surprised about. And then as always, we will wrap with spilling the tea. So stay tuned until the end. And yeah, let me just jump in by explaining to you what the hell happened to me this week because there was a lot. And then I want to tell you about a past story that came to my mind that I've been dying to tell the Tea Tribe about. And now is the time. Okay, so let me paint a picture. I'm leaving work, like middle of the afternoon, heading home, and a little boy walks up to me. He's about 7, I would say. And first of all, he walked onto the subway alone, which was the first weird thing. Like, this little kid should not be on the subway by himself. And he walks up to me, and he first goes up to the guy across from me, and I just hear the guy say, like, "I'm sorry, I don't have any money." And then the kid walks away, and then he walks up to me, and I see he has a clipboard, and he's obviously trying to sell something. So he said, "Can I ask you a question?" So I said, "Of course, yeah, you could ask me a question, but I'm really sorry, like, I don't have any cash on me." And he looks at me, and he goes, "Well, fuck you then." And I was like, did this 7-year-old just say fuck you to me? I was flabbergasted. I also was trying to like hold in my laughter because it was just so outrageous that I was like, what just happened? So I'm watching him walk down the 1 train saying fuck you to every single person in his path. And one by one, like, we're all wearing masks. So, you know, you can't like mouth things to one another, but you know, you could just read people's eyes. One by one, like, the woman to my right looks at me after he curses her out, and like her eyes widen, and she's like, "Did that just happen?" basically. And I'm like, yes, same thing happened to me. And we're not talking, but we're doing all the talking with our expressions. And then I just, like, for whatever reason, just got into a laughing fit. Like, I just thought it was so funny. And the guy across from me sees me losing it. So then he starts to lose it. And he, like, pulls down his masks. And he's like, "Did that kid just tell you to fuck off?" And I was like, yes, I can't believe it. And we were just all cracking up. So I get off the platform. I make a TikTok about it. Someone comments on my TikTok, and I didn't say which train I was on. I just said I was on the subway. And she goes, "Was this on the 1 train? Because my husband was also on the 1 train and came home from work an hour after you posted your TikTok and told me the exact same story happened to him." So this is my warning. If you're in New York on the 1 train, there's a little kid going around verbally, attacking everyone. But he's innocent. And honestly, I feel bad because, like, I'm sure his parents put him up to it. This poor kid should not be out there doing this by himself. And I honestly, if I had cash, I would have given him some, but I didn't. And he was not happy about my response. So while we're talking about aggressive things, there is a story that I've been wanting to share for quite some time. And I haven't told it. And I was going through my notes today because I have this like list of stories on my notepad of like things I want to share on the podcast. And I was like, today feels like a good day. So when I was living 3 apartments ago, this was a while ago, when I had first started, I think becoming like a full-time employee, like working for myself full-time, I would get tons of packages because that's just the nature of the business. Brands send you products. They want you to review them. They hope that you could post them for free. So still to this day, I get like 5 packages a day. Like, it's really absurd. A little less now because I've moved so many times that I think the brands no longer know which address to send things to. But back in this time, I was getting 5 packages a day. And I had these doormen that were just nasty. And like, I am sorry, I purposefully moved into a doorman building because I knew I got so many packages and I don't want them getting stolen. And it's important for me to have someone there to sign for them. And my doorman would constantly get mad at me for having packages. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, what am I supposed to do? That's like, I don't even mean to be like demeaning or anything, but like their job literally is to sign for my packages and then I go pick them up and they would get mad at me. They would give me attitude all the time. So I always had beef with this one doorman because if I was traveling for like 2-3 days, I would come home and be like, hey, could I pick up my packages? And he would be like, oh no, yeah, I sent them back. Like, what do you mean you sent them back? He's like, well, you weren't here for 2 days, so I returned them. I'm like, I'm traveling. Like, what do you mean you sent my packages back? Like, he was just so unprofessional and it was so weird. And he always had beef that I had packages. So one day I'm upstairs and a brand sent a like courier service, I think it's called, like a delivery person versus like a UPS or a FedEx. Like, it's actually a person that hand delivers something. And I get a call from the man delivering the package. And he's like, excuse me, I called the cops and your doorman punched me in the face and I couldn't get your package to you. And I'm like, wait. Like, rewind. Like, what do you mean my doorman punched you in the face? So then my phone starts ringing and it's my doorman. So then I pick up the phone and my doorman's like, your delivery man assaulted me. He came after me. And I'm like, what is going on? And like, how am I roped into this? Like, this has nothing to do with me. I get it's my package, but like, I wasn't involved in the fight. So it turns out the delivery guy had a package for me and the doorman wouldn't take it I don't get it. Like, I just don't understand. They wouldn't take the package. So the delivery guy, I guess, was being a little forceful. Like, you need to take this. You need to take this. My doorman got wound up, whatever. Somehow my doorman, oh no, the delivery guy punched the doorman in the face. That's what happened. It's like not funny, but it is. The delivery guy punched the doorman in the face. My doorman had a black eye, and then the delivery guy takes off. And now I'm like on the phone with the company trying to like, I'm like, are the cops coming? Like, I don't really know. I didn't witness any of this, but whatever. Long story short, they hated me even more after that. And like, to this day, I'm scared to walk past that building because these doormen hate me so much. And I know I had no control over this delivery man punching my doorman. But on top of them already sending my packages back, thinking I get too many to begin with, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, just sign for the freaking packages. Like, what is the problem? So I wanted to share that. Moral of the story, I guess there really is no moral of the story other than find nice doormen. It is important, and I've yet to really figure it out because my current building, the package people also hate me. I don't know. I'm very nice. I try to be thankful. I don't know why they hate me. I'm sorry that I get so many packages. If I don't go for like 3 days, they'll roll their eyes and be like, oh, yeah, you have 8 packages. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry for having an addiction to Amazon. Like, so I just wanted to tell you guys that. So yeah, those are a few aggressive stories to start your Tuesday. And I hope that you guys enjoy this upcoming episode with Batsheva. Just a reminder, my home decor merch is out now. So go to the link in my bio, in my Instagram, wherever you want to find it. It's in all my bios. And I have home decor merch out. We have the 2 journals, one that says Self-Care Club, one that says Manifest. We have 2 extremely comfortable blankets and a mug that says Spill the Tea, and then posters. So if you're in college or if you just want a little home decor, check all of that out. Everything, like I said, is linked in bio. So we will get into the interview now, and then don't forget to join me at the end of the episode because we will spill some tea. Okay, guys, I am here with Batsheva Haart. So excited to meet.
Hey, everyone.
Social media friends turned now
Yes.
IRL friends.
I love that. That's like one of my favorite kinds of friendships.
It's such an
amazing.
easy way to meet people now with like TikTok and social media and everything.
It's amazing. It's like a whole new networking kind of thing. And like you already feel like you know the person. So when you meet them, it's just like you know you're going to get along because like
It's
you
so
feel
true.
like you know them.
Like I see you hanging out with people I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, we like run in the same circles.
Exactly.
So your mom was here yesterday on Erica's podcast, and I'm so happy to have you because once I watched your show, My Unorthodox Life, I was like, I need to have a conversation with either you or your mom or your sister or someone because I'm just like so fascinated. But we talked about this a little bit off air. I want to ask you some questions that you don't get asked in every interview because it's all the same, right?
It is. It's a lot of the same. But then people will still ask me those questions in my DMs, and I'm like, okay, like I guess people like haven't heard any of
Just
anything.
point them to an interview.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people always used to ask me like, what's your career story? And like one of my old like first podcasts was like my career journey. By the end of it, I would just be like, hey, here's a link.
Here's a link.
You can just go here and
I
listen.
am totally about that. Or like, what are you wearing on your face? I'm like, I actually have a YouTube on that. It's links all my products. Here's a link. You could go check it out.
It's just easier at some point. So I think the interesting thing about you is that you actually had a social media following prior to the show blowing up, which is like pretty admirable because a lot of people, it's the opposite for them.
Yeah.
And from the show, my understanding is that that's something like your mom kind of instilled in you. Like if you want to work in social media, then prove to me like you could work in social media.
Definitely. Yeah. She was like, for a while, I was just a student to her. And then like once I established myself in the industry, she was like, this is my daughter. She does social media. And I was like, yes.
She actually knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's created this brand.
Exactly.
Okay, there's something you do in your TikToks, and I need to know if this is like a trick of the trade.
Okay.
You like cut off your last like word.
That is something that I've noticed that people do. Like,
do you do that intentionally so
Yes.
we get another view?
yeah.
Like so it keeps replaying?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've seen people do who do like speaking TikTok kind of things.
I've noticed people do that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
do I need to just start cutting myself off to get more views?
I don't know. Like, I think people are like, wait, what? And then they're already listening to your next thought. So it kind of like keeps them like,
And then you get 2 views instead of 1.
Exactly. And like nobody has any time anymore. Like they have no patience whatsoever. So like if you're not constantly like filling in those gaps, like people aren't going to wait for a pause. That's what I feel. At least.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Well, because you did grow to over 1 million followers on TikTok, and it's admirable because I've been stuck at like half a million for so long. And I think it's mostly because like TikTok kind of puts you into a box where it's like once you produce fashion content, if you're not producing fashion content, then your videos fail.
It's really annoying.
So it's tough, and like without getting into TikTok too much, but I just thought that was interesting because just as someone who like consumes social media is in it, and then watching you on the show, I'm like, she definitely, it's thought out. Like you're not just creating TikToks and getting lucky. Like I could tell there's strategy behind it.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of strategy. You have to think because I feel like especially TikTok is like more of a creator and then like a consumer app. You're not just like, most people aren't just like uploading something like they do on Instagram for their friends. I mean, some people do, but for the most part, I feel like people are coming on there to be entertained or to learn or some sort of emotional reason they want to get. So I feel like you have to really put something out there that people are interested in watching.
Do you get that business savvy like from your mom?
Definitely like work hard. Both my parents are like really like always instilled that in us, that like you need to work hard. And my mom raised us very independently. Like, I mean, random things, like I always made my own like doctor's appointments once I registered myself for sleepaway camp once I was old enough. So like once my mom felt we were like mature enough to take care of her responsibility, she gave us that responsibility. Whereas my husband's like mom was ordering him contacts when we got married, and I'm like, no, like you're a big boy, you can take care of this. I mean, he was 19, but still.
True, fair. He still was. But it's funny you say that because I remember even like when I was out of college or like my first time leaving the city at like 23, I'd be like, Mom, I got to come home to go to the doctor. Like instead of just getting a doctor in the city, I would like go home to New Jersey to go to the doctor. And it's not until you like
are forced.
Yes, until you're forced, or like that independence wasn't necessarily like instilled in me until I was like, okay, I gotta. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, like I remember as a kid like being annoyed about it, but now as an adult I'm really thankful that my mom did that test, because like I'm able to take care of myself and like be on top of those things. And I think it made me better at just like being my own like entrepreneur I have to be on top of my shit. Are we allowed to curse on here?
Yeah, you can curse.
And because no one else is going to do it for you. And I think like, you know, like you're your own boss. So if you're not working, then you're not making money and nobody's telling you to do anything. So
you have to like light that own fire under your ass to be like, okay, we're going to do this today and get it done. I feel like you've had probably such like a transformative few years, given the fact that you came from like an ultra like religious environment, which is obviously showed on the Netflix show. And now like you're like you just said, like, can I curse? Like, were you even allowed to curse? Like what, like how much has changed for you? And like, how is it to even start like owning that and be a different person? Is it kind of like, do you even take yourself aback sometimes? Like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think like sometimes, like even just like today, like walking in, like wearing a top like this, like I wouldn't wear something like this even last year. So like just like being confident that like I get to make decisions for myself and like do what I want to do, speak how I want to speak, all those things. Like definitely, I remember I like never was around curse words at all. I remember like my friend in high school once said like jerk around me, and I remember being like, oh my God, like my parents are gonna kill you if you
so
say
offended,
like the word jerk, which was like a horrible word.
I remember begging my parents to say the word crap when I was little.
Oh my God.
I was like, Mom, Chelsea's allowed to say crap. Why can't I? Like, why can't I? And they're like, because you're not. Like, I'm sorry,
exactly.
but you can't say it.
No, it's good. I think as a kid, you should learn like some words are not appropriate for you. Yeah. But even now, like on TikTok, some sounds like I won't use even if they're really popular because like I feel like I have a young audience. Like I'm not gonna say fuck on my TikTok. Like for me, I
it's
feel
still
like
instilled in you.
Yeah, like I don't know. Even though I see these like 15-year-olds who are like doing whatever. I
know.
And I'm like, okay.
I think there is a fine line. Like, if I was a parent, like I wouldn't really want my children using those sounds either. Like there's a fine line, but now you are an adult and like you've come to this point where you're making your own decisions. And I think it's your choice. Like if you want to like not be super vulgar, like I'm not very vulgar. No. Like I don't get on my podcast and talk like openly about sex and this and that. Like, I'll tell stories here and there, but I'm not super vulgar like some other people, and that's my personal preference.
Exactly.
And I think you're allowed to
make that choice. For sure, yeah.
It was interesting seeing you like kind of struggle with your choices, and then also I did have empathy for your husband because I felt his support the whole time throughout, but it was also like it's a lot for him.
For sure. I know. Whenever people are like hard on him, I'm like, guys, like you have to understand like where we came from was like somewhere different. So that's why I was understood where he was coming from until the point where I was like, okay, I gave you like that amount of time and like now you have to be on board. And now he's on board. Like,
well, and I had empathy for him because you're taught something your entire life, and then he married you and like your family kind of decided like we're going to step away, and he's your partner, so he did that with you. But for him, it's like it was a joint decision, whereas like you came to that decision on your own with your family. Right. He's just along for the ride. So I understand why he had more hesitance because it's like basically turning your back on everything you've learned.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, exactly. It was a big move for him. And I think in general, like some people are more open to change and I'm more open to it. And it's a little bit like he takes smaller steps in that area. And, like, I know that. So I feel like, he's my person. Like, I'm going to give him that time.
Yeah, the grace.
Whereas other people in my family were like, oh, my God.
Well, because everyone moves on different timelines.
Exactly.
Like, they have different comfortability levels. Do you feel like the show coming out now has made you even more open to wear things that you didn't wear or, like, own your truth? Now that it's kind of, like, not the secret anymore, what you've gone through, it's like you can't hide it. The world knows.
Yeah, I feel like it's more like my steps that I've taken have been slow, so it's more been like my own personal, nothing to do with the show, whereas like sometimes people will be like, oh my God, but like look at what you're wearing now. I'm like, yeah, the show was filmed like almost 2 years ago, like I was at a different place, or my family, they're like, oh, we saw your dad's wedding and like he looks like this and that. I'm like, yeah, well, my parents got separated like 9 years ago. I grew up in a total, just because we're one way now doesn't mean I was like that growing up. So like people change, and I feel like wherever I've been, like I've always been open in terms of like what I'm wearing, but I never like spoke about anything about my journey on my social media. So that was kind of like new for me. I did like a TikTok like here and there about it because I knew that like on TikTok, you know, like people can't reach you as much.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know there's DMs, but like I think you have to be follow or like
you can kind of close them off to the public from accessing you.
Yeah, so like for Instagram, like I never, like I would, whenever I do a Q&A, people would always ask me questions and I'm like, not talking about it because I didn't want to share. Like I didn't want people's feedback on it.
Because people have so many opinions.
Exactly. And I'm like, this is my journey. This is my choice. Like, I don't care what you think. And I'm not like interested in bringing you into this conversation.
So are people, I want to understand like the religion a little bit more, but are people inside the religion, like they still have social media and stuff, right?
No, not necessarily.
Because
like,
I'm wondering
where I went to high school, we did not. Like, we weren't allowed to have Facebook or MySpace or any of those things. Like, I didn't have any social. I mean,
or like phones even.
So we had phones, but we weren't allowed to have them in school. We would have to like put them like at the front desk when we would come in, and we actually like had this whole thing where they made us take texting off of our phones. Like, and if you,
it wasn't that's possible.
Yeah, like you can actually take it. I don't know if you can do it
Yeah.
now, but I had that for a while. Like, it wasn't, you didn't have to, but if you didn't, you were kind of like looked down upon. So like there was a period.
And also your parents were probably a little judged. Like, oh, why are you letting your child
your
have
kid
texting?
have texting?
Yeah.
And it's just like, really? Like, we didn't have, at that point, dating myself, like we didn't have, like iPhones came out when I was in like 12th grade or something.
Yeah,
so,
no, that makes sense.
You know, yeah, we had like the old phones that like didn't probably have any internet or anything.
You had to
like,
probably pay for texting.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it was.
Exactly. Like you had a limited amount.
Yeah.
So like it was really strict. Like I didn't have like any social media.
I asked that because I feel like I would be that girl like at home trying to sneak the phone to like watch your show on Netflix and then reach out to you to be like, how do I like become like you? So like I'm wondering if women or girls or men even are contacting you. But then I'm like, can they even contact you? So like are people reaching out to you?
Yeah, what's been really amazing about the show is like you have those people who either have like been through a similar experience in any religion, not like specifically Judaism. Just like being like, oh my God, like I was raised the same way in like an ultra religious environment and I no longer this. Or people who are like, I want to do that. Like, but it's hard to really help people in that sense besides give them like the courage to find their happiness.
It's so personal.
It's it's a personal journey. Like there's not like a specific guideline you can follow. There are some organizations. There's this Jewish organization called Footsteps that helps people who come from ultra religious backgrounds like transition out and like helps them find jobs. It's a really cool organization. So I generally push people if they're old enough in that direction.
That's awesome. I think that's the other thing. Like this isn't just like a Jewish thing. It's like every religion has these like ultra religious, like you said, sectors. And it could happen to anyone where they feel like they're in a religion that's maybe not right for them and they want to step outside of it. And I even have heard a lot of people that grew up in like an ultra Catholic scenario where now they're like, they thought they couldn't have sex and they were shamed. And now they're adults and they're figuring that out. So I think it's just eye-opening to have people in general on TV talking about this. Yeah. Because it's kind of like taboo in a way.
Yeah, taboo. And also just like you see all the different like aspects of religious following. Like my brother's fully religious and like Ben and I are modern Orthodox. So we're like in between. And then you have my mom and sister who aren't religious at all. So like I've gotten also a lot of messages of people who are like religious but not crazy strict, and they're like, we've never seen that in between on TV. So like it's so nice to see that because you kind of usually see like, you know, really polarizing sides, never
That's
like
so
in
true.
between.
Yeah, and also I think what's different about you is that like you fully had your family's support.
Yeah, for sure.
And even your dad, who chose to stay within like the religion and be super religious, he still like stood by you guys. And I think when people are asking you for advice, it's probably hard because not every family's like that. Like you're in a very rare situation, I feel.
Yeah, no, I'm really, really lucky. Yeah, that I have support. That's what I also say to people. I'm like, my mom did the hard part. Like I had that support coming out. And if I choose to go either direction, I have people supporting me on both sides. So I definitely am really lucky in that regard. And there's lots of people who leave their families or leave their friends because they don't accept them for their choices, and that's really sad.
That is really sad. What's it? Okay, I want to talk about marriage a little because I'm single as a Pringle. What's it like if I married the person that I was dating at 19? Like, I think we'd be happy. Like, he was a perfectly great guy. He actually just got married last weekend. But he was a great guy. And we probably would have been happy. So, like, I hate when people are like, why do you marry someone so young, you change. It's like, yeah, but you can grow together.
Exactly.
And like you and your husband, it looks like, are really like growing together and setting your own traditions and your own belief system. What's it been like just being married and now navigating it that there's so much like public opinion?
Yeah, so being married, I feel like it's like all I've known really as an adult. So it's hard for me to like pinpoint that. I think definitely like not having kids was like the best thing ever because I feel like if I did have kids, I don't know if I'd still be married because like how do you navigate like your own personal growth and children?
So true.
Like I think it's really challenging for people who get married young and have babies young to do both. Like I don't know how they do it. But I think like the fact that like we've always had like a very good sense of communication and like open about where we're at. So like we don't always have to be on the same playing field as long as like we have the same core goals or like values.
Yeah.
Then like if one is either playing catch up or isn't on the same level, like as long as you respect each other, like you can be okay. Yeah. I think it comes from like saying like, no, I can't, you can't do that. Like, no, I can't.
Where did you learn? Like, you obviously learned that from someone, though. Like, where like, I know your parents wound up getting divorced, but you have such a respect for your husband and a very like mature outlook on marriage that I feel like is very grounded. Where did that come from?
Maybe because my parents had a bad relationship. I wanted to try to figure out like other ways around that. Like, you know. But I, you know, I don't think it's one specific thing. Yeah. I feel like I also feel like if you marry your best friend, like that's like your best bet. Just because like I think whoever I have, like, let's say friends who like, they definitely love their spouses. Do they necessarily like them always? Like not so much. So I feel like and love is different. And like is what keeps you together, not love. If that makes sense.
No, it's so true. Like you actually have to be friends at the end of the day and like enjoy the person that you're with.
Yeah, like you want to like enjoy hanging out with them. Like they should be like your favorite person to hang out with, and like you shouldn't get sick of them.
Your family looks so fun. Like the videos of you guys at Surf Lodge dancing. I was dying.
Oh my god, I know. That was amazing. People who were hating, I'm like, you're just jealous that you
what?
can't
People were hating on it?
Oh my god.
I was like, I wish I was there. I'm having FOMO. I think it's so fun. So you guys still are like super close.
Yeah.
What like has changed since the show? Like, are there any updates? Like, is your brother dating someone? Like, anything that you can share?
My brother is not dating anyone, but he's been getting a lot of girls in his DMs.
Oh, it's probably the best kind of dating situation for him right now.
So this is the thing that I've learned. So, like, I never was in the dating era, like with apps or DMs or anything, and you need to make your profile public. I see this on every like people. If you're sliding into anyone's DMs, you need a public profile because, like, how's someone supposed to see who you are from your little profile picture?
I get DMs from guys and same thing. They're private. And I'm like,
no, you're not going to request to follow them.
No. And also, yesterday someone DM'd me and they're like, hey, I'm a simp. Can I pay you? So I was like, sure, here's my Venmo just to see. Did he? And I was like, let's just see what happens, like as a joke. And then he was like, do you have Cash App? Which I don't. And I was like, okay, this is too much now. It was funny for a second, but like
that would have been funny.
I know. I was like, let's see if this person actually pays me. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think having a public profile is like a major thing. I was dying at your sister, like making out at the company party or whatever.
God. Yeah.
Because your reaction, like, I totally understand. That's something me and my sister would react towards each other. I'm the younger sister making out on the couch, and my sister's the older sister being like, Alyssa, get it together.
Yeah, exactly. At first I was like, oh my God, people are going to think I'm so mean. And then they're like, no, like, this is legit. Like,
no, you were justified.
Have valid thoughts. It is a company party.
I was dying. No, 100%. Like, I feel like since I'm the younger sister, I'm always like the wild one. Like you always get coined as that, even though I'm like really not that wild at all.
Yeah.
But compared to my sister, she's like the more reserved one.
Yeah, exactly. But that's okay. Like that makes you get along. You balance each other out.
It really does. Yeah. And it was nice to see your family dynamic because you guys like all had differences, but you had the like utmost respect for one another. And I think it's really rare because there's so many family dynamics where you like talk down to each other, or like I always joke, I'm like, I'm the worst version of myself around my family because I'm so comfortable around them that like I'm crazy. But my mom will be like, you're so moody. And I'm like, no one else in my life would think I'm moody because
my mom says that to me.
I was like, I don't treat other people this way, but for some reason when you're around family, you want to rip their heads off. But I saw that you guys like really did just have this like mutual like respect for one another, even though you were going through so many different like growing phases.
Yeah, I think that definitely like came with time and like maturity and realizing that like who are you to tell someone how they should lead their life or what they believe in or what that makes them happy. So I think like once we all internalize that, like we value family. Like that's what we want ultimately. Like who cares what you believe in as long as you love each other and like we all enjoy each other's company, and we're all like a similar age range now and adults, which is really nice. My little brother's getting there.
That's literally just like a rule of the world though,
that
people should live by.
But it's people don't.
Yeah, it's like just let people, like as long as there's respect, let people live their lives how they want to live them. And I wish more people thought that way because it's just such like a good rule of thumb, I feel.
Yeah, people don't do that. And then like that's what like rips families apart, I think, is like not being able to realize that just because you're all raised in the same home doesn't mean you all want to lead the same lives.
Let's say you were to get a season 2, which I know nothing's confirmed or anything. What would you want to show next season? Like of your story, of your relationship, of your career? Like what are you interested in showing?
I feel like we've like done a good job at like telling the story of where we came from. So I feel like being able to focus more on present would be really nice.
Yeah.
Because like digging up like old past things is like uncomfortable. So I feel like we don't have to like specifically focus on that.
And
like,
they'll come up.
Yeah. They'll come up. No, they definitely will. But like it's not, it doesn't have to be the main focus of it because I feel like that was like very heavy. But I feel like just like showing like what our lives are like now like is interesting also. Yeah,
like the stories out there and it's like how are you guys moving forward now and growing. Which even just following you guys on social media, like you said, you could tell like things are evolving and things are changing. And it's really, I would be shocked if you guys didn't come back for season 2 because I think it was just such a like fascinating show. I didn't know much about like the religion. But there's, again, like you hear things and you know things and it's just hard until you're actually seeing people go through their own personal struggles. Yeah. It's just like fascinating is kind of the word.
Right. And that's like, and that I feel like we understood, like sharing the story would touch people and like would entertain them. And it is a really fascinating story. So my mom was very diehard on sharing it.
She's so cool. I got to talk to your mom because she's the best.
She is the best.
So I do this thing called Ask Alyssa where we give out advice. I was hoping you could give some advice for me. Of course. I also think you'll bring an interesting perspective. Okay. Some of them are very long. Let me try to find some of the shorter ones. Bianca. Okay, here we go. I love the podcast. The content and guests have been amazing. I would love to hear your thoughts on something. Please keep my name confidential, always. One of my girlfriends repeatedly dates guys who say they don't want a relationship but then treat her like a girlfriend. She is now flying to another state for the 4th time to see a man who repeatedly tells her that he is down to have fun but that they aren't dating. He says things like, I hope you meet a nice guy who treats you right, and jokes about taking other girls on dates. However, he will FaceTime her all the time and compliments her. This makes her think he secretly wants to be more than just friends and just won't admit it. My question is, am I a bad friend if I don't want to hear about this guy or be there for her when she's upset? This is the 3rd guy in a row who has said he doesn't want to date her but treats her like a girlfriend, and then she is devastated when the guy moves on with someone else, and I'm tired of being there for the inevitable.
I'm like a blunt friend. My friends know that about me, so I feel like I would take I kind of understand where she's coming from. Like, I feel like if you have a sit down conversation and be like, listen, like you have a pattern now. Like it's not like the first or the second. I feel like a third means it's a pattern.
Yeah.
And like if she wants her to be there, then she needs to know that like you can't always have to pick up the pieces. Like I feel like sometimes people need tough love and are like,
yeah, because this is a pattern.
That's
like
a
if
pattern.
it's a third person, I was going to say this almost like as a friend, aside from tough love, like you almost can't even do anything other than like your friend needs to either like see a therapist or like get to the root of the issue because it's like a deeper thing with her.
It sounds like she has commitment issues.
Or yeah, like, and sometimes they say when you have commitment issues, you pick people that you know can't commit to you.
For sure, because you don't want that. Like, you're not ready for it. But then you can't necessarily be, like, devastated when...
And, like, the poor me, this always happens to me.
Exactly. No, you're putting yourself in that situation. But I'm also, like, really blunt. I'm mean sometimes.
I feel like I'm trying to think, like, if this was actually kept happening to my friend. I think I'm blunt too, but in a nurturing way. Like I lead with like blunt, but like package it in like a compliment sandwich.
For sure.
Like,
for sure.
Like I'll be like
honesty, but like I want to be there for you, but like it seems like this is a pattern.
Yeah, like this is a deeper issue. Maybe you should look into this. Mm-hmm. Like I think you just need to be transparent and be like, you know, it's hard for me as a friend to keep seeing you go through the same pattern. And I feel like we keep having the same conversation every few months.
Exactly. And I think I'm sure like on her, it's hard to be able to like truly be there for someone if like they're not willing to be there for themselves in terms of like, you know, respecting themselves to be like, I shouldn't put myself in this situation if I'm having those feelings. Or tell your friend to, like, have a conversation with this guy and be like,
yeah, like,
what's happening?
Going on?
Yeah, like, you're treating me like a girlfriend. Like, are we something more? And if we're not, then, like, tell her you're there for her to move on from that.
It's also kind of, like, a self-respect thing because it's, like, what person is going to keep seeing someone that, like, says he's telling you about other dates? Like, I would not have it.
No, I wouldn't
So
be
it's
able
so
to
hard
do
for
that.
me to relate, but I know that this is very common and people do this.
I really think it's a commitment thing on her
and
end.
like a self-respect, like she has low confidence or something, which is like really sad.
You're in a hard spot. I'm sorry.
I know. It's so hard to be friends to like. It's so hard to be a friend to someone that's going through something because you want to be there for them, but at the same time, it's like at the expense of your own like mental health.
Yeah, and your mental health is really important. And I feel like to be a good friend, you have to understand that you can set boundaries and be like, I really want to be there for you. This is the third time this is happening. Like, I don't know if I could be that person for this situation.
Yeah,
and I think
until
that's
something's
okay.
got to give.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay.
I think we answered that one. Okay, ask Alyssa. Sorry, this isn't that juicy. It might even be too long, but I need your help. Okay. I'm really just in a big life funk right now between being a junior in my hometown college with no new friends besides the ones I came here with from high school, and I still live at home. I feel left out and just so unhappy. I don't know how to fix it. I don't fit in with my friends, new friends. They became friends on spring break trip. I couldn't afford to go. So I guess these girls made new friends on spring break because they're so cliquey, and my same old friends are changing in a sad way. Any tips on romanticizing your own life or tips to feel better about things? I keep chasing what's next and keep thinking, oh, if I had this, I'd be happy. And I don't even know if that's true. I'm so stuck, feeling like I wish I could start over my life and move somewhere new, forget everyone and everything.
Oh my God. Friends are so hard. I mean, I know like dating's hard also, I'm sure, but like friendships are really hard.
It is.
And I totally relate to her because I'm not like close with my high school friends because they all have like 4 babies. But I had to make new friends when I moved to the city 2.5 years ago. And I got really lucky that I like knew a person who had a friend, and like I kind of made my way into
like infiltrated the friend
group, which was really I'm really thankful. Yeah. But I recently moved downtown and I didn't know anybody, and I downloaded Bumble BFF.
I love that.
Do you know what Bumble BFF?
I do. I always recommend it, but I've never used it.
Okay, so I went on Bumble BFF and I was like, I need to meet people in my area because all my friends were on the Upper West Side, and I was like, I need someone who I can like go on a morning walk with and like grab a drink if I want to. So I highly recommend Bumble.
And you met people?
And I met people. Like it was fun for me because I've never been on a dating app before. So I'm like swipe.
Yeah,
and then I understand how people are so like materialistic because I'm like, I would never wear shoes like that.
I was just gonna say I don't love that purse. See ya.
But there's so many people. You could filter your interests. So like if you're looking for a new group, like I had gone on TikTok and I did a TikTok about how making friends as an adult is so hard, and so many people recommended it. So I was like, let me download this app.
I think social media is like such a great way to meet friends because I've met so many friends throughout my situation is different because I grew up in New Jersey, so like right outside the city. Half of my friends from like home I've known since preschool. Like we've grown up our whole lives together. A lot of them live in the city. So when I moved to the city, I wasn't like looking for friends because I had friends.
Right.
But throughout my career, I've met friends that have been such a pleasant surprise. And a lot of them have been social media friends just from being like in the influencer space or TikTok or whatever it may be. I also think there's so many like podcasts like mine that have Facebook groups where you could connect with people in your area that have like the same interests as you. I don't think you have to move and start over.
No.
I think also something that I think is important to do is like your friends might have different interests than you currently, but you still have to just sometimes accept your friends for who they are and be like, okay, maybe we don't have the same interests, but I still love them because we've grown up together and I know they're good people or whatever it may be. Like you don't have to be just like your friends all the time.
For sure. Yeah. And you don't have to like make like, I'm not being friends with you anymore kind of statement.
Yeah.
But if like you're looking for like new energy, and I feel like it's also okay to realize when you want to meet new people, because I think that's something that people are like, well, these are my friends, we've always been friends. And I feel like having the confidence to be like, no, like I have some other interests, I want to find people that have this interest as well, is hard to make that jump.
100%.
But like as you said, like Facebook groups, Bumble BFF, you can like filter people by like interests and you find something that you both click on. I think the interesting part about, at least for me, the Bumble BFS was kind of like a date when you go on and you meet someone for the first time. And then, like, do you ask to see each other again?
That's so funny. I even feel that way when I meet someone, like, from social media. Like, sometimes you click and sometimes you're like,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm really, But there's nice ways to do that, too.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And last thing, you're still in college. So, like, join some clubs and stuff. Like, there's tons of things that you could do, like, inside your community, I feel like.
That's a good one as well.
Okay, the last one is very long, so I'm going to pull it up on my phone.
Okay.
I, like, skimmed it. Okay, last one. Ask Alyssa, FYI, this is long, but I know you like all the tea. I sure do. My boyfriend and I have both been through a lot these last couple of months. We both have developed depression in a way neither of us are familiar with since it's very new to us. We have been together for almost 2 years and absolutely adore each other and know we are each other's person, but I can sense everything going on in our personal lives is slightly taking a toll on our sex life. We don't seem to be in the mood as much as usual, and there's no spontaneity. Meanwhile, we always reassure each other that we are the best we've ever had, and the way our bodies click, blah, 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 and understand each other. We've never had a problem before this. Then she just gives a little background about like why they're both going through something. Her dad has an autoimmune disease. His family's going through something. So she said, at the end of the day, I can't fault him for what he's going through because we both have family shit. It could just be a lot at times. My question is, what do you think I could do to get the spark between us back and make our sex life come back to fruition? I fear we have been letting everything outside of our relationship dictate our bond.
That's really tough.
I think if you're both depressed, like, it's just a hiccup in the road.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed, if you're not yourselves, it's almost like you have to do the personal work to be yourselves for everything else to come together.
For sure. I think being okay, like, to acknowledge the situation that they're in and to not put pressure. I think when you put pressure on something, like, don't just because, let's say, you were having sex this amount of times before and now you're not, like, doesn't mean that there's something, like, wrong. You can be okay with having that change. But, I mean, definitely.
Like, you're going through something.
Yeah, you're going through something. That's okay. I feel like if it's been a long, long time, like then it's definitely like hopefully you're open with. It sounds like she's open with him about like what she's like feeling.
Do you go to couples therapy?
Yeah.
It sounds like you both have like individual things going on to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think the spark is gone forever. It's just a tough like season.
I'm curious if it's like, do you think it's on both their ends or just like
it
one?
Seems like they're both going
right?
through so much that they're just not as like present.
Right. I feel like, I don't know if you guys watch the show. Like my mom gave Ben and I some advice to spice things up, and it was just, and we actually like really like took it, like we're pretty good about it, like going on a date night, like try at least once a week, or even like cutting out a little bit of time where you feel like you're getting dressed up or like you're doing
like,
something that you enjoy. Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be getting pizza, but just like something that like you're looking forward to. An activity.
Yeah. Like get your heads out of the stress.
Of it. Exactly. Yeah. Like to not, that you're not focusing on whatever's going on, to like have this happy moment that you're looking forward to so that you're in a happier mindset. And so it doesn't have to be the whole week. Like it could just be like this one portion that you're focusing on, just like having fun or doing something you both enjoy just will help you connect. And I feel like once you feel more connected, then like everything else will go into place.
That's how I feel. Like I feel like once you personally get in a better space, if you guys do adore each other and you do have that connection, like you'll find your way back to each other.
Sure.
It's just maybe like nurturing that, and then also like maybe it's, hey, let's do a date night tonight and put our phones down for 2 hours and just connect. You know, it's something funny that my married friends do, which like I'm not married, so I don't know this to be a thing. But like as I've gotten older, I've heard about this. My friends shower with their husbands, but it's not necessarily like a sexual thing. It's like they just will literally shower together, but it's 30 minutes, undivided time. Your phones are away. They're like, we have some of our best conversations in the shower because we're just like,
I wonder if they have two
world.
jets, because I find being in the shower with someone really not fun. I'm like,
you're the cold one?
No, I'm so cold.
I totally agree. Like I'm like,
someone's always cold, so maybe they have two shower heads or like those jets around them.
Yeah,
you know
you have to have like a steam room or something. But I just think it's so interesting because also, you know who does it? Margaret Joseph's on the Housewives of New Jersey. She talks about how her and her husband showered together, and I'm like, I guess this is a thing couples do, but they say it's like a really bonding time for them because
maybe take a bath together.
Yeah, like something, because I do agree about the shower thing, but it's more just like phones are down. Right. It's just us, like we're connecting. And like I said, it's not even necessarily a sexual thing. It's just like a undivided attention.
Having like that, cutting out that specific time where you are doing something you enjoy, whether it's like food or an activity or getting your favorite ice cream. I'm always around food, so I can't think about other things, but like something that you guys both enjoy, like to make that special time, I feel like that like will increase your bond, because it feels like you're both focusing on yourselves and not really like your togetherness.
True. It's like you have to come together as a couple versus like individuals.
Yeah.
And if you guys shower with your spouse, I want you to DM
I'm so
me.
curious. Like, do you have two shower heads, or do you have like a big, huge shower? Something?
I literally didn't know this was a thing until like my college friends are all married, and like 50% of them are like, oh no, we only shower together. I'm like, what? Whoa, this is a thing.
Interesting. I know people. I mean, I know people that like that's a thing.
Obviously, I've showered with someone, but to do it every single time is next level. But it's
that
a
is
thing.
Next level. Wow.
So I'm just curious.
Me too. I'm gonna look at these comments. Yeah. I'm so curious.
I'm so curious. All right, this was amazing. Thank you so much for your advice. Where could everyone follow you, stay up to date with what's going on?
You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, all Batsheva Haart.
So literally, you have everything.
I have all the platforms.
You're such a social media girl.
Yeah, I actually yesterday was just approved to be a YouTube partner, which was really exciting. I like told my mom, like, go watch my video. There's an ad on it. Yay.
Wait, last question. Do you still work for Elite? Is it the
model? I was doing like a consulting thing for them to help them with their social media. I know that's actually something people always message me, like, can you help me with my social media? I'm like, this isn't like my profession. Like I was consulting with them, but it's like my main focus is my own personal stuff.
It's too much to do it all.
Yeah.
You got to focus on one thing at a time.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, guys, let's spill the tea. I want to discuss Bachelor in Paradise because It's been on and it's drama filled, and I feel like there are a lot of things that we need to discuss. First of all, this is kind of probably mean, but like I don't really feel Chris Harrison's absence. Like I have to be honest. It's not that I'm like obsessed with David Spade or Lance Bass or anything. I think they're doing a fine job, but I don't think the show's really about the host. So like all that drama for like not that much. Like nothing's really changed. The show is still the same. The only thing that's really like standing out to me is the fact that there's like 45 people on this season. There are so many people. I think if I were to be on the beach, the people I'd go for are Grocery Store Joe, cutie. Brendan's obviously super hot. I didn't think he was like great on Tayshia's season. I kind of thought he was like dweeby, and now that I'm watching the show, I'm like, ooh, I get the appeal. Who else would I go for? I don't know. Like, I feel like there's not that many people that would like spark my interest. But it's been interesting. I think the whole Demi thing is like a little wild. The fact that she came in, I don't know. It's weird because she came in with such an ego, but I almost think that's like a bigger sign of insecurity in a way, because the second she got rejected, you saw her like losing control, which to me is like more so insecurity than it is arrogance, even though she came in kind of like, I'm the shit. I'm not loving that whole storyline. I think that the producers definitely made James give her a rose to stick around because they think she'll create drama, but I just don't really think, I think that's what The Bachelor does wrong, that like Love Island and other dating shows don't do. The Bachelor like forces the narrative too much. It's like, just let things happen how they're naturally supposed to happen and we'll be entertained. They make it so produced, and I almost think it's like biting them in the ass. But again, like it's very entertaining. I think it's really interesting. I do think Thomas might be a narcissist. I'm not going to lie. I think that there's some weird like tendencies that he is putting out there. But at the same time, I also think that the other men need to like let it go. It's a little dramatic at this point. Just let him self-destruct. If he's such a bad person, we will see it for ourselves. Like, again, everyone's just forcing these narratives down our throats. Like, just worry about yourself. Let's film them like drunk making out, and we'll just like see what happens. Okay, that's really all for Bachelor in Paradise. I'm excited for Becca Kufrin to come, except I think she's going to be linked to Thomas, which isn't a vibe because we want better for her. And I feel like her return deserved more justice than being with Thomas, but whatever. I've been watching Manifest, I told you guys, on Netflix. I finished season 1. It is the ultimate Hibley. It is the worst show I've ever seen, but I can't stop watching it. I think the acting is like actually pretty bad. I said that the main character looks like Mr. Shu from Glee, and like the internet was like equal parts upset with me and then equal parts agreeing with me. Like people were more so upset that I pointed it out because now they can't look at him the same. And I don't know if I've told you guys this, but I have such a talent for spotting doppelgangers that like I can't look at that man without thinking Mr. Shu is the main character. So it's really an awful show. Like I got to be honest. It's like I've watched like sci-fi type of shows. Like I've watched The Vampire Diaries and I love it. But I watched this show and like something's missing the mark. Like it's almost so fake. I don't know. I don't know what's missing the mark, but it's also one of those shows that you can't stop watching because even though you kind of hate it, you kind of love it. And that's why it's the ultimate Hibley. So I am proud to now add Manifest to the Hibley list. And if you are new here, Hibley is hate it but love it. It's when you hate something so much that you actually kind of love it. And that's how I feel about Manifest. So in terms of other tea to spill, Love Island wrapped. I feel like all of my shows were on at once and now suddenly I have nothing to watch, which is a little disheartening, which is also probably why I started Manifest. But that Addison Rae movie's coming out on Friday. By the time this is out, it will have been aired. So I'll share my thoughts on my Instagram stories and you can go check them out there. I'm sure I'm going to love it. Who am I kidding? I love bad TV. It will probably be a Hibley as well. And yeah, that's it for this week. So just a reminder again, merch is live. My episodes go live every Tuesday. If you guys are new here and from the interview with Batsheva, don't forget to subscribe. I interview reality stars, influencers. We talk about mental health and taboo female topics. And that's it for this week. I will see you guys next Tuesday.